being able to move your own organic self.
Passion wars against the stiff brocade, the daffodils and squills flutter in the breeze as they please, and I weep for the lime trees in blossom, and one small flower has dropped upon my bosom. Beneath my stiffened gown is the softness of a woman bathing in a marble basin.
They're good dancers. They're just like, they're feeling it, they're showing you who they are, aside from the house dance technique, but they've just done that. They've just put that on top to kind of finalize it. It's like 50% technique, 50% freedom. You know, and the freedom itself is a foundation. It's hard to learn freedom. You can either have it at the very beginning and then learn the style, or you can become like me. I was the opposite. I was more the technical kid, and then I had to learn how to be free after. I had to unlock. I had to unlock those areas to just open up my body and open up myself and be courageous enough to show who I was in my dance, because it's tough. So I'm shy. I was shy. But dance taught me how to be confident in being able to not be shy, to speak what I speak. The music speaks for me, you know? So that was the lesson. I hope it made sense. Yes. I hope it makes sense, even if it's not. If it's still like that right now, it will be. It's this stuff doesn't happen in 3 hours. You know, this stuff that you have to take away with you now. Hopefully, try and implement it into your practice, whether you're house dancers or not. This wasn't just a house class. It was more about giving you exercises to practice, thinking about where to use space, whether it's jumping, whether it's the floor, whether it's ground, whether it's, you know, strengthening your legs, looking at coordination, looking at how to control your center. We did a lot of stuff, like based on these mechanics. And again, that wasn't house stuff. That's just body stuff. Like working your body, but using this music and using the dance to kind of influence that, right? You guys have any questions? It's okay if you don't.
How long have you been dancing?
I've been dancing 18 years. So I started when I was 10. I'm 28 now. I started doing house dance in 2012. So I've been dancing house for like 7-8 years. And a lot of my like formal training, what I was doing in ballet and contemporary, helped me to really be able to kind of, that's a reference for me. Like, so sometimes the way I speak might be quite articulate in talking about center or moving away from the center and stuff like this is because I did ballet and contemporary, and it's a lot about that, being able to kind of be a solid center and be able to move freely from that, right? And so I try to use that in my teaching method, especially when I'm doing house, because for me, house really is, it's the style for me that reached out the most to me in the sense of how much it can take in. It's a real free dance. House dance is super free, and you can use and utilize so many different movements and styles of movement, and also backgrounds, like your cultural backgrounds, like how much is that, because the music's so diverse. You have Afro house, you have deep house, you have jazz house, you have soulful, you have two-set, you have bassline, you have garage, you have gospel, you have Afro, like you just have so many tech, minimal, progressive, like house is so, it's huge. So naturally all of those influences are in your movement, where you can allow those things to be in the movement too. It's not just the steps. That's just one thing. That's a go-to to have a base, but the rest is you, and also what else you have to bring into the dance, you know? And like for me, being from the UK, like we had our thing going on, and the reason why I started to travel out more to the States was because I wanted to educate myself and come into different states to see what their take on was it. Because I learned, obviously, I went to the East Coast, because most of the people know it as being like a New York dance, but it's not just New York, it was everywhere. But the New York style, as we see it, was the predominant style that got shown everywhere because they were the ones that were traveling and teaching. So the more I went out and went to Philly, and then I saw how they were moving in Philly, and then I went to DC and see how they were moving in DC, then I went on the West Coast, and the West Coast flipped my mind because the B-boys were housing and they were adding jacks and stomps into their top rocks and stuff, and I was like, oh, like this is crazy. And everyone had their own take on it. Even when you come to Vegas, they'll have their own take on, like, because the house music is so universal, like naturally it can't be done just one way.
Yeah.
Everyone brings their own thing into it, you know? And that's the beautiful thing about the States. Like you have that, whether you knew it or not, but like if you go to different places and you connect with the house communities there, because the house community isn't just about the dance, it's the clubbers. You have the clubbers who are just in the club every single day of the week, drinking it up and just partying. And then you have the people who are the DJs, and you have the producers, and you have The club promoter is like, it's the culture. It's a culture, not just a dance. So you're taking in those influences too. How does the DJs influence you? How does the clubbers influence you? Because the clubbers, they're dancing, but they're not dancing to be competitive, or they're not dancing to practice, or the athletes, they're doing their thing, which is what teaches me how to dance when I see them, because they're most free. They're just in their zone, doing their thing, and that's the raw state of what this dance comes from. That's its origins, you know. Beyond that, it goes further. It goes more ancestral. The cipher, it comes from Africa. Circle. So, you take it as deep as that, it's all this roots, it's all this, and this is what the dance and the music hopefully will bring out, will kind of generate inside of you, where you come from, what's your origins, what do you bring to it, how does it mix with the music, and this is why I love this dance, I love this music, because it's so wide, So, think about those things, and I've had these past 8 years to try and do that in my time. I still feel I'm really in my beginning stages, or the more maturing I'm getting, the more I'm understanding those things, those qualities. And yeah, with the traveling too, I'm trying to just broaden my experiences, what you guys give me as well, because I'm trying to learn from you guys too, what I'm seeing out here and when I'm exchanging and stuff like that, because I'm just coming from where I come from. It's my approach, but very much what I'm learning along the way, I'm also trying to generate that in my movement, in my dance. You guys inspire me just as much as I might inspire you. It's just the truth,
It's key.